So we want to definitely just welcome you on the show today, and excuse me for being so nervous, everybody. Things didn't start out the way that I planned, but we have gotten on now finally, and I'm grateful. And I just want to ask the first question here, beloved.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, yes, ma'am. So, with your healing with Angelica, and just looking at the reality of the rise of a nation as it relates to the topic here, a nation can rise no higher than its woman. What is the significance of a woman who has been healed, on the rise of her nation?
Yes, ma'am. Beautiful question, by the way. Praise be to Allah. And thank you so much for the introduction. I just want to say again, I'm so grateful and honored to even share a space with you on your platform, on your first show. And I pray Allah continue to bless you.
Thank you.
Yes. So when it comes to a woman that is healed and how she impacts the growth of a nation, a woman that's healed is a woman that knows, a woman that is able to directly guide those that are in need and can directly guide the new generation. The woman is the mother of civilization. So if the mother isn't right, the children isn't right, you know? So when you have a healed woman, you have someone that is divinely guided, you have someone that can nurture the children up in a proper way, a way that we can end up seeing a difference in the world. Because when you really think about it, it's just like, we have been conformed, from the, reality of this world and the enemy. And we have been a product of his environment for a long time. And because we have taken on the mind of our enemy, and the women have as well, once we kind of separate, when the woman separates her mind from the mind of this world to the mind of God, in
Mhm.
which that is the ultimate goal, that's when you're able to see an actual healing within the civilization, and you're actually be able to see a healing within the world. So a healed woman can bring so much of a difference, so much of an impact. When we look at the women of today, unfortunately, they're traumatized. I mean, we are naturally just traumatized just from things that our ancestors has went through. They call it post-traumatic slave disorder. So, by nature, we have these DNA genetics that is within us, due to the trauma that our ancestors had to deal with. They call it epigenetics. But once we understand and we know, especially understanding and knowing that 75% of the work is with the woman, we understand that we have more of a duty to fulfill. And that's why it's so important that the woman separates her mind from the mind of this world into the mind of God. So
Mhm.
that's a healed woman that is directly guided by God. And if she's directed by God, then,
Yes.
oh my God, we'll see such a difference in the way that our children are growing up, the things that they do. The woman is the first teacher.
Yes.
The woman, we're the first. So a lot of the things that we see our children getting into, we kind of got to look at ourselves as women. What are we showing our children? How did we raise them? At the end of the day, I understand that, the minister only had his mother, you
Mhm.
know, and his mother raised him right, regardless of the dad not being there. So not saying that we don't want to eliminate the dynamics of the man and the woman being together in the actual family structure, but understand that the minister's mother was divinely guided by God,
That's right.
especially being able to grow up a man in such high exaltations. Like, it's just so beautiful. So yeah, it's just the healed woman is guided by God. So it's just going to bring in a new world and a new change. And that is exactly what we need.
Wow, that is so beautiful and so profound what you said, dear sister.
Praise.
Because when the woman is awakened, it's like we're so powerful. And then when you say 75% of the work is with the woman, and I look at the reality of there is no decent women, there are no decent men, and so we have to understand. and hold ourselves accountable for waking up and to seek knowledge and wisdom so that we can guide our families aright, so that we can be an example of what a woman of God looks like, what the second self of God looks like. And so when you put that clean glass next to the dirty glass, you see the reality of God, the reality of a cleaned up woman. And you spoke about the Willie Lynch syndrome and slavery and the effect that it has had on us. So it's not our fault, that we're out here acting other than ourselves. Something has happened to us. And so now, when we develop the understanding of who we are and gain the knowledge and wisdom of self and understand our value, then we begin to have a certain type of mindset that cultivates and helps our families evolve, help our families grow. And we are an example of the beauty and the modesty that God has made us, like the modern day Mary. And so that's our potential. And so when we look at that, we can guide our families aright. You talked about how Mother Khadijah, she raised the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan by herself, not promoting single, women, raising children, but just letting the sisters know out there, if you're single, don't feel like, okay, I'm just not going to be a good mom because I need a husband here. No, you have Almighty God in your life. So pray to Him and continue to strive hard in His way. And so many wonderful things can happen at your hands because of your mind, having the mind of God. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful, sister. Thank you so much for your eloquently answering that question. I have
Yeah.
a question that a brother asked me actually. This was earlier. He said, you know, has the woman risen? Okay. And he said, if not, what's hindering her rise? And so I want to hear from you on that. And then I'm going to also chime in as well, because I have some thoughts to that, as to, are we risen? Have we risen? And then if we haven't yet, what is hindering our rise?
Who, that is a great question. That is a great question. Honestly, I want to say that, I mean, I'm seeing an awakening in the Black culture overall.
Yeah.
However, specifically the woman, and I really think about the younger women.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly not seeing a rise in it, only because of look at who their role models are.
Oh.
You have the women in the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
You have social media, especially just right now in this time, how much it takes up so much of our young women's time.
Mm-hmm.
um so because of that, because of propaganda in the media, and we seeing these beautiful sisters. I love sister, what's her name, Megan Thee Stallion. These are some beautiful sisters, honestly, they are.
They
But
are.
what message are they sending our women?
Yes.
So our women are not feeling beautiful being who they are. They're not feeling like, or knowing how worthy they are with their clothes on, and feeling like, okay, well, I have to look a certain way. I have to wear this and wear that in order to get a certain type of love or an attention,
Mm-hmm.
from he or she, doesn't matter. But because of that, and because our young women are feeding off of that, I think it's making it hard to rise, because they are battling with self. And the natural self is being righteous. The natural self is knowing that, honestly, I believe that everybody knows. Women have these feelings too. They know what's right and what's wrong.
Yes.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
unless the enemy has really corrupted the woman's mind to think that it is okay to walk outside with half of nothing on,
Mm-hmm.
then okay, the enemy has taken more of your mind than God should. So I really believe that, unfortunately, I'm not seeing a big. I'm seeing like the downfall of it, because of how many type the influence that
Mm-hmm.
the young women are having. And if we can kind of eliminate that influence and put more of an influence, like sisters you see in a nation, sisters that you see, because at the end of the day, those sisters that they are looking at,
Mm-hmm.
they're admiring, they also see these sisters in their community. So they're not seeing the clean glass. They're
Mm.
not seeing no other role models.
Okay.
So that's why it's so important us as NGT,
Yeah.
to stay on point, because you can be that light for that sister and show her, let her know that, hey, I've been in that world. It
Yeah.
ain't fun. It's not.
Right.
But you can rise above that and understand that if you rise and eliminate the destruction of this world and rise into the mind of God, and that's what we need to put out here, more of being God conscious, so our women can rise more up into intelligent, into the nature of knowing that she has a unique duty, and that duty that needs to be fulfilled, because again, 75% of the work is with the woman.
That's right.
So yeah, it really just needs to be a shift of perspective when it comes to the rise of the woman, and a shift of imagery of what it is that they're seeing, to believe that this is okay rather than what is not okay. So yeah.
Wow, beautiful sister. Thank you so much. There was so much wisdom in what you just shared, beloved. And you being such a young sister. And, it's just so beautiful to hear all of this wisdom, from you. Because if you don't mind me asking again, what is your age for the listeners so they can know this beautiful sister is, you sound like, how they say somebody is an old soul. And I know you heard it
Yeah.
before because you have
Yes.
so much wisdom. And when you open your mouth, you can hear the spirit of Almighty God, come out of you. And so this truth, everyone needs to be tuned in and listening to. And because there's so much work that we have to do within ourselves, as women, we're the first teachers. You know what I mean? So what do we have in our mind to share? So, dear sister, that was definitely beautiful. And what you said about how the media has such a negative influence on our young sisters. So then they see Megan Thee Stallion, and even though these are some beautiful sisters, like you said, what are they, putting in the minds, of our young sisters? And so when you look at that, no, the woman has not risen. And so we do have a ways to go, but we can get there. And it starts with the condition of our minds. So it's not so much as what our behinds look like, because so many people are doing this BBL, and we're naturally, beautiful and voluptuous as Black women, and sometimes we just go too far trying to look like somebody else, but the media is pushing the BBL and all of that. So it's like we just have to be out there, the MGT, be out front and show people what beautiful looks like, because beautiful is modest. And so we just have to also hold one another accountable, to this. So when we see our sisters out there, it's not that we put them down or judge them, but show them some love. Let them know who they are. Like, sister, do you know this about yourself? Do you know your value? You're so beautiful. You don't have to show, your adornments. You can cover up. You can be just as beautiful, actually more beautiful covered, than showing everything. And I remember years ago when I was coming up, I would start wearing the long dresses because I just, felt beautiful being modest. I felt like a princess. And so people would say, and the older people, they would be like, wow, you're just absolutely beautiful. And I remember my uncle shared with me, and he said, you know what? Being modest is really the real sexy, because you're leaving something to a man's imagination. So when
Mm.
we out here just uncovered, just showing it all, that's not sexy. And I remember in one of your podcasts, you said we out here looking like a meal. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Trying to get ate up. It's like, come on now, sister. We're more valuable than that. Our worth is we're so priceless and precious. So, we're gonna continue to work and build on rising, that nation, because a nation can rise no higher than its woman. So as
Mhm.
the woman continues to rise mentally, that helps the nation to rise. So thank you so much for your response, beautiful sister. And I'm going to move on to the next question. Now, what is the significance that the sisterhood, okay, plays in the part of the rise of the woman? Because there's a principle that I hear with the brothers: men sharpen men like steel sharpen steel. And then that same concept, when you look at that principle, we also sharpen each other, or we
Yeah.
also exalt one another to righteousness. It says in the Holy Quran, exalt one another to prayer and all of those things. So how can the sisterhood, what significance does the sisterhood play in helping each other, with the rise of a nation.
Yes, ma'am. Beautiful question. Just like you kind of said, honestly, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
And that's real. Um, and I can be honest, like in my younger years, I'm still young, yeah.
That's
In
right.
my younger years, I didn't really I mean, I had my friends, women I called my friends, but and even now, like not me, just in general, but just putting it all together, you see when it comes to women, we're so quick to cut each other off, to bash each other, to
Mm.
talk about each other. And the real thing is that we have so many things that we are going through that is related.
Yes.
So that's the reason why I believe iron sharpens iron, because sis, I've been there. Let me help you out.
Yes.
Listen, sis, I've been there. I got your back.
Mm.
It's something about the sisterhood, and that's why I love the sisterhood so much in the nation of Islam. I don't think I ever found any sisterhood like this before.
That's
But
right. I
just
bear
the
witness.
man, it's the love, like the love and the wanting for your sister what you want for yourself. And when you have that type of sisterhood, when it comes to the woman, man, that woman knows she has a village. She knows she has
Mm.
someone to count on. She knows that, hey, I got somebody that's going to help me out when I'm doing bad things, when I'm doing good things.
Come on,
And
sis.
when you have that support in the mission of trying to rise within yourself as a woman and help rise other women,
Mm.
man, you're unstoppable. Like what I think the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I'm not saying this verbatim,
Mm.
but unity is like an atomic bomb. Like our unity is like our unity with Allah, our unity with our sisterhood, then our unity with just like the nation in general. Like it's so important. And
Yes.
I love it because you have that sister you can hold on to, you can talk to, you can cry a shoulder with. And then like I said, it's that having that relatable situations you can go to a sister about,
Yes.
and understanding as well is that, I'm not in this alone.
That's right.
We both have the same mission. So she understands what I'm going through. All of
Mm.
us as women got the same mission. We're just doing it in our own different way,
Yes.
right? So it's
Absolutely.
very important.
Oh, yes, absolutely, my dear sister. And that's so beautiful how you put that, because we do need each other. And we have so much more in common than we do different. And
Mhm.
and then that really takes us back to the Willie Lynch syndrome, how he took our differences and made us look at each other as if, oh, I'm better than you because I'm this and I'm that, or if you're dark skin, light skin, whatever, then you have the house Negro and the field Negro. And the thing about it is, when we really look at ourselves, my sister is who I am. She is me. And we have so much more in common than we have different. So if we come together, we can truly help each other. Just like you said, sis, I see what you're going through. I've been there too. Let me help you, my dear sister. And it all starts with love. The basis of what we do, it should be love. We got to love ourselves first, because if we don't love ourselves, then we're not going to know how to love others. So
Yes.
then having the knowledge of self makes us love ourselves more. And that's so beautiful and eloquent how you shared that, because coming into the Nation of Islam myself, just understanding who I am and seeing all the beautiful sisters, I just saw a bunch of me's, and I said, this is
Yeah.
beautiful. This is what a sisterhood is. And a
Mhm.
sisterhood is so important as it relates to the rise of a nation. So we definitely need each other as sisters. So let's continue to band together and build. Okay, so now the next question for you, my dear sister, is what are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced in your journey of helping women heal?
Ooh, wow. That's a good question. I can say, um, kind of trying to get women to understand their value, has been kind of difficult. because our women have been so um, indoctrinated with this belief that they have to have this, or they have to do this, or they have to look like this to be
Mm,
valuable, and not believe that you came already with all the value in the world.
yes.
So I believe with the difficulty of trying to, I want to say convince, but then again, allow the woman to understand and women to understand that you don't need this or that to make you valuable. You know,
Mhm.
God has already given you what it is that you need to be valuable. Now you have to implement the faith.
Yes.
Faith.
Wow.
And the faith is the big thing that's
Mhm.
been kind of hinders when it comes to women in the healing work. You know, not really trusting that Allah has you on this path, and don't be so worried about how the path is going to end in particular, but just go through the flow of the healing.
Mm,
So, I believe that that has been just the difficulty of trying to get my women to understand that, you know, you're valuable, you're important, you're needed.
yes.
You're needed. I think that's another thing. You're needed, you know, and some of that goes back to just what women been through in general. Just women have been abused, have been taken for granted. Our women have been, you know, abused and used, you
Mm,
know. So because they have been through so many things, sometimes it just makes them think that there's no hope.
yes.
And when you lose hope, that means you lose faith. And if
Mhm.
you lose faith, that means you don't trust God. So now you done kind of made a disconnect with your God, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
because this world has created a disconnect with our women, then they believe that they're not valuable enough. So trying to reconnect the woman to God and herself in general has been hard, only because, again, trying to change the mindset and the perspective of what these women believe that, or what someone taught them that they are, in which they're not. So, but Allah is God, and I believe, you know, like Allah God does with us, you know, he's patient with us. So I'm patient with our women. So yeah.
Oh, wow, sister. That is absolutely beautiful. And you are doing a great work with the women. And I commend you so much. And I thank Allah God for you, because what you're doing is very much needed. Because as we're taught in the Nation of Islam, that when you teach a man, you teach an individual. But when you teach a woman, you teach a nation. So the work that you're doing is divine. And I just pray that Almighty God Allah will continue to bless you in your journey of healing the woman. And hopefully today, we have sisters out there that are listening, women out there that are listening and receiving some type of healing from the message that you're receiving today. So it's good to have you again, dear sister. And we're going to continue on. Oh, I'm just loving it. So when you think about too the journey of the woman healing, you are a very confident sister. Okay. And just being a dark skinned sister, and I'm gonna just go a little deep because I know a lot of times we don't discuss these things, because like, okay, let's push that under the carpet. No, we're gonna keep it real today. So and me being a dark skinned sister as well, is certain stigmas that I had to go through. And earlier on, I was like really shy and quiet, and I didn't have as much confidence as I do now. When you look at the reality, have you always been this confident as a dark skinned woman? Um, how have you been able to navigate through the systematic ignorances as it relates to how we have been viewed as dark skinned women?
Mm. Wow, that's a beautiful question. Definitely in my younger years, it was the light skin thing. You know, light skinned women are more beautiful, light skin this, light skin that. So, you know, the type of choice that a man will make, well, they will prefer a light skinned woman before, you know, a dark skinned woman. Um, so having to deal with that at a young age. And it wasn't until I think as I grew up, I kind of like, didn't really phase it as much. But just in particular, with my skin color and just who I am as a woman, it wasn't really until I was able to come into the knowledge of self and the knowledge of God to help me navigate, this system of oppression and this system of, injustice when it comes to just the value of the woman and what she needs to look like and things in that matter. So it was definitely just me coming to the knowledge of self and understanding that as well, knowing that my God is black too.
Yes, come on.
Okay. And my God is a
Right.
black man. Okay.
Yes.
And that all comes into actually knowing who God is and knowing who you are. And also understanding that, God don't make no favorites.
Mm-mm.
Like I mean, he chose us, black man and woman in America, but we come in all different colors.
That's right.
So because
That's
of
right.
that, we're all special.
Yes.
So when I was able to understand that, I think that really just built my confidence just as a woman, and just understanding that I'm beautiful, how I am, who I am, and I love my skin. I love who I am and the things about me. So yeah, I think that's what kind of really just got me more confident. I call it confidence because
Confidence. Okay, I like
yeah,
that.
I call it confidence because, like, I ain't gonna lie, it wasn't until I joined the nation where I just kind of like, like, man, like, I'm beautiful. Look at all these different beautiful sisters. And that's the thing, too, being around different women that's in the nation. They were role models to me, and seeing them in different colors and shades of color and understanding that, hey, we're all the same.
Yes,
So that's
absolutely.
what I kept in my mind. So, yeah.
Yeah, so beautiful. Wonderful, sister. Thank you for that. Now, let me ask you this. How difficult has it been being a young, beautiful woman striving to be upright, modest, and to be an example of the second self of God in a world so corrupt? Did you ever have the desire to fit in? Well, most people have, you know they're driven to fit in and look like everybody else. Did you ever go through that? How difficult has it been for you to be the Angelica that you are today?
Um, Honestly, at first it was difficult.
Mhm.
um, because I knew it was going to be a lot of things that I had to change within myself. Like, I said this on the previous podcast, like when I wrote my letter, to the nation, and I was really contemplating because I knew, I'm like, oh, I write this letter. That means, hey, that old Angelica got to go.
That's right.
And no more. That got to go. So, I knew that because I felt like me writing this letter is like my promise to him that, I'm submitting to you. And that's doing exactly what it is that I need to do, being modest, not being out at night, going to clubs and doing things in this matter that you see that our young women are doing. I came from that life, that lifestyle. I used to go out every weekend. Like, and me still being young, sometimes, it'll cross my mind. But then I have God in my ear, and then have the reminder of the blessing of how blessed I am to not even be a part of that, because there's nothing but death out there. So
Right.
because I know that, because Allah has risen me up into this statue of understanding, and understanding that, this world is just a provision, of non-reality, honestly,
Mhm.
so it's just like, like I said, at first it was difficult, just understanding and transitioning into just knowing that, I have to leave that life alone. That's not who I am anymore. But it's the love that I have for Allah that keeps me going and keeps me knowing that, it's nothing out there for me. I love where I am now. I love this connection where I have with Allah. And I want other women to see as well that, um, it's okay to submit. It's okay to, you don't have to be out and you don't have to fit in all the time. It's okay to be at home. It's okay to be alone.
That's right.
Because I think that's the biggest thing with females. Just, I don't want to be at home by myself. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to. I want to go out with friends and stuff like that. But when what I really understood was, even at that time when I was out with my friends, we was only out because we shared the same activities,
Mm.
drinking, smoking, things in that matter, like clubbing, like nothing productive. So when you come out of that lifestyle and you submit to a lie, you find out you don't share the same interests as you used to anymore with those same friends that you used to deal with.
Yes.
So I ended up coming into a self of now seeing who my real tribe is, my
Come on
MGT
now.
sisters, and dialoguing about God. Like MGT class, I love it.
Yes.
Like who wouldn't be there? So I think it's just having that love for God and just wanting to be obedient, and then seeing what Allah does for those that submit. Oh, listen.
Yes.
Yeah, man, listen, sit yourself in heaven at once. He will
That's
make that
right.
happen for you. So
Yes.
I don't have I'm I didn't say my age. I'm 29. So this is my last year in my 20s. Ugh, God. But I'm 29. I joined the nation when I was 27. Um, but I don't have a desire for that world anymore.
Yeah.
And I want our women to see that it's only a world of it's a world of death, because look at the activities that they're doing. Our children are not having that structure of having a mother at home anymore. Our young women are having babies and they still want to be in the world at the same time. You got to make a choice,
Right.
you know?
Mm.
So, yeah, I believe it's me having that love for Allah that keeps me not even wanting to go back to that world. At first it was hard, but I continue to grow my connection with Allah, continue to pray, continue to fast, continue to just feed on him.
Mm.
And then Allah, he always shows you. He shows you what goes on in these clubs. People are getting shot. People are getting killed. Women are getting murdered.
Mm.
No, it's not a life out there for you.
Mhm.
You know? So I found my heaven. I'm at home. I'm fine being at home. I get with my MGT sister. We go out to eat during the daylight hours and, stuff like that. So, and on top of that, I found my purpose.
Mhm.
So because of that, me submit to a lie, this is the lifestyle that I prefer to live. And once you do that, you'll see that world ain't for you.
Yeah.
It never been, never was.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely, dear sister. And I agree with you 100%. Me, myself, today, I believe that I probably struggled in some aspects earlier on because I never really had a desire to really be of the world. Anyways, I was raised in the Church of Christ. And so, I always loved just studying, God's word and just striving to, be righteous. Not to say that I'm better than anybody else, but I just loved, just righteousness. And so I never wanted to be of the world, although I have had worldly ways and went through different things like you. I used to love the club because I love to dance. And so when I would go out, I would get on that dance floor and just have a good time and just go home, you know what I mean? And just enjoy my home. I didn't want to pick nobody up at no club or nothing because I knew that, those guys at the club, they were just looking for girls to do things with. And I'm like, okay, I'm not that girl. So I'm just out here to dance. Meet me on the dance floor. So the reality of it is, the beauty of just having the knowledge of self. And like you said, being an MGT, it just is so rewarding. So I don't worry about what's going on out there because I know that there's nothing out there but hell and destruction. There's nothing out there but death. And so I see, like you said, dear sister, about, going to the clubs today and, so much that's going out there. People are getting killed, they're getting robbed, you're meeting up with the wrong type of people with the wrong type of mindsets. And, there's so much safety in just being righteous and covering ourselves and just having a certain mind of God where we kind of separate ourselves from that world and all of the things that are going out there that does us no good. And so the mind of the woman is so precious that we should always be in places that help to encourage our righteousness, and being around, like you said, righteous sisters. And, we help each other to be more beautiful to just be more smarter, wiser, so that's why I love our connection, sister, Angelica, because you remind me of my righteousness just by looking at you, just by listening to you. I get so much, I just get full of the spirit of righteousness, the spirit of, that modern day Mary, you know what I mean? Maryam. And so just continue to keep up the good work. And I pray that the sisters that are out there watching right now, that you're also being inspired and being reminded of who you are. And then every day we just have to, make a new covenant with ourselves to be the best person that we can be, the best beautiful woman that we can be, the woman understanding the responsibility that we have, that a nation can rise no higher than its woman. So we have to hold each other accountable to that reality, hold ourselves accountable. Like Michael Jackson said, I'm looking at the woman in the mirror, I'm asking her to change her ways, because that change first starts with me. And then I can be that example of what it looks like to be a woman who raises a nation. Beautiful.
Praise be to Allah.
Okay, all praise due to Allah. What are some tips and strategies a woman can use in her own healing journey?
Oh, wow. Well, some tips and strategy I will recommend is definitely first and foremost prayer. Even if you're not a Muslim woman, I know us in a nation, we pray 5 times a day. I remember being in, can you hear me, sis?
I hear you, sis. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, you good. So I remember just being in the, really started my healing journey. I was like doubling up on prayer. I was praying 5 times. Like I was adding prayer to prayer. So constantly praying, constantly staying in communication with your God, even if it's journaling. I journal every day. I journal and talk to Allah every day. That's what I do. Journaling. Um, Actually being able to write out your thoughts, write out how you feel, write out when you're feeling these certain emotions come up, because sometimes we can continuously be on this roller coaster, or just even in this system of just being automatic all the time, to where we cannot recognize sometimes what's going on. So taking that time of self analysis, I can say self examination, is that if that's through journaling, writing out your feelings when you're feeling some type of way at the moment, meditation. I love meditation. Meditation has actually made me more made made me more made me have more of a stronger connection with Allah. With me being able to be in silence. There's so much power in silence. There's so much power in just being in a space of serenity and silence and listening to Allah, because it's not that Allah doesn't hear you. Sometimes we don't hear him. And because of things that, again, we're on this automatic system, we on this rat race every day, getting up every day, doing our normal duties. Sometimes we can miss the call. Sometimes we can miss when God is trying to speak to us sometimes. So I definitely believe as you're on this healing journey, healing, we're reconnecting with self and God, because you have to reconnect with God in order to reconnect with yourself. So being able to implement meditation, times of meditation, spend a lot of time in nature. I believe nature walks is so important. And just really trying to know and find out who you are. I think that's the very first thing, really. Like when you're getting on that healing journey, is trying to reconnect with yourself. Who am I? I think that's one thing that I hear a lot from women, like especially women that have had children before. Like, I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't know, like, who am I? And I felt that way before because my whole life changed. So being able to be reconnected with self and God is definitely the first thing as far as on the healing journey. You do that through prayer. You do that with communion with God, and taking time to read his word and feeding on his word, studying his word. Um, and like I said, meditation, praying, yoga, just doing different type of healing, modalities that can, enhance your connection with the light, especially that being in silence. So those are a few things.
Oh, yes, beautiful. Thank you so much for that, sister. I hope we are taking notes out there.
Yes.
This is beautiful. Sister, the question I have here, because I don't like to leave the men out, because one thing about it is we are not going anywhere without our men. And so when we look at the reality of the men and what they play in the role that we have as rising, the woman rising, what are some of the ways that the Black man can support the Black woman in her rise?
Wow. That's beautiful. The Black man need to go heal.
Yes.
Just like the woman need to go heal, the Black man needs to heal.
Yes.
I truly believe that even in this time today, um, there's a lot of, I want to say, gender confusion, and not even just on a physical aspect, but on a mind aspect. There's a lot of men that are more emotional than women nowadays. And it's hard for a woman to be vulnerable to a man that's extremely vulnerable too. And when it comes to not being able to emotionally handle his emotions. So it goes back to just men being able to take accountability and understand that we need you, Black man,
Yes.
because we can't do this by ourselves. So we need someone, a man that is able to emotionally control himself and be able to be emotionally available for that woman. Because I truly believe it's like when a woman is able to open up to a man emotionally, you're really able to give her a sense of security, a sense of just protection, a sense of knowing that everything's gonna be all right. I got your back, because it's more than just a physical thing. Like strong. I got your back. I'm gonna fight for you. Is knowing that when the mental is corrupted with just the things of this world, that she can seek refuge in her man. We look at, I believe that most women's quality should be a man like God. So we looking at you like a God, so we should be able to come to you in that way. But if you're not operating like a God, then maybe you need to heal. So I think our Black men need to, understand and accept that, hey, I got some healing to do, and I don't want to continue to bleed on the woman, the mother of civilization, who brings in the children of this world.
Right.
Because if you don't want to fix yourself as a Black man, like that's not fair to the Black woman. That's not fair to the new generation that's going to come, after us. Like, so once the Black man is able to take accountability and know that, hey, it's time for me to heal. It's time for me to go to therapy. It's time for me to, you know, to address those emotional traumas, the traumas I may have from my mother, my father, so yeah, definitely implement some healing as Black men. So we can also be able to go to our men when it comes to just dealing with just life in general. Because I really believe, and this is my opinion, we see a lot of women that are in their masculine energy. It's because they don't feel protected. We have a lot of men that are more in their feminine energy. And again, we play both sides, masculine and
Mhm.
feminine, because we all have it. But as of in today's world, you see a lot of feminine energy rising up in a Black man and more masculine energy rising up in a Black woman. So because we haven't got these emotional traumas addressed,
Yes.
and seeing that because women today don't feel secure, they don't feel safe, men are killing women just nonstop. They feel like they have to protect themselves. They don't feel secure, so they're rising up in their masculine energy because they have to protect themselves. It's a survival mechanism. So, in order for a woman to get out that survival mechanism, she has to feel protected by the man. So that
Yeah.
means the man needs to go into himself and look into himself and see what it is that's bringing up this feminine energy to where his masculine energy can't rise. So once he checked that, his masculine energy can rise, and then we can have a strong bond and then grow together. So yeah.
Yeah, beautiful, sister. That's so wonderful. Because when you look at the reality of the men are maintainers of women. So that's what I'm hearing in what you're saying. And so the man has also a significant role in helping the woman rise, because if they're maintaining us properly, then it puts us in an area where we can become more free mentally, spiritually, be more creative, to embrace the God within ourselves as well. And so, like you said, an emotional man, is a man that needs to heal. And so if the man is also healing, then he can be his best self for us as well. Because a lot of times men think that, okay, I'm maintaining her if I'm paying the bills. You know what I mean? And they limit themselves to just that. But we need that emotional maintenance. We need that spiritual maintenance. And he's really charged with that. And so the God wasn't making no mistakes when he put the black man over the black woman, in a sense where he's to maintain her. So that means that he is well capable of maintaining us. And so, like you said, first with the healing of himself, then he can see the woman properly, understanding our value, understanding our nature. And then that way he will know how to serve us and aid us in the process of our rise, so that our nation can rise. So that's so beautiful, my dear
Yes,
sister.
that was beautiful.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, ma'am. Now, for the listening audience out there, and I haven't got a chance to look at the comments just yet, because like I said, this is my first show, so I'm learning as I go on.
Yes, give
So,
my sister some love. Put some fire
yes,
in the comment box if y'all watching.
I appreciate
Share,
y'all so much.
subscribe.
Alhamdulillah. All praises due to God. So, what would you like to, just share with the listening audience? Like, what are some of the tips that you like to leave with them? Any closing comments? Anything you want to leave on our minds?
Let me see. um, Self first, then others.
Mm,
Self first, then others. And I say that because even me going through my healing journey, I have to understand that it's only so much that I can do for others if I'm not healed. If I'm not in a space to where I can, help or flourish, anyone else, if I'm not in that space. So taking, proper note of just yourself, that self-care, that self first, learning to say no, learning to say not today,
mm,
and setting those boundaries. Those boundaries
mm.
help with allowing others to know that you're disciplined and that there needs to be some disciplinary actions happening here if you cross these boundaries. So that's why we have to go back and understand self first, so we can know who we are, so we can set those boundaries. And those boundaries is for our protection, men and women.
That's right.
So yeah, let's set these boundaries. Let's understand who we are first, because if you don't know who you are, then you're not going to be able to set boundaries, because you don't know what type of boundaries to set for yourself. So
Mm.
set those boundaries, understanding who you are, and always know the best religion ever is to do unto others as you want done to yourself.
That's right, sis.
That's
Beautiful, sister. And what a way, and to end the show. And that, I mean, those comments are just so fruitful, because it reminds me of what the honorable minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us. And he said, and this is, of course, he's representing the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So he said that, you said something that reminded me about the determination self, working on self first,
yeah.
and what is it? Oh, sister, just like
What, hey, what
slipped
did
my
I say?
um
Self first, then others. Discipline.
yes, yes.
Um,
Oh, self-improvement, the basis of community
yeah.
development. And so that's just the reality, that when we look at ourselves and we improve ourselves, then we can improve and help each other to
Mhm.
grow and evolve. So thank you so much, my dear sister, for coming on and being my
Yeah.
guest on this humble show. This is our first show, and thank you all out there for listening and rocking with me, rocking with us. And I look forward to bringing you more in the days to come. And how can we contact you, sister? What are some ways to get a hold of Sister Angelica X Muslima?
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm on Facebook. I'm on social media here. Healing with Angelica. I'm on all social media platforms. I have a direct line if you need any consultation services. If you're interested in purchasing any merch, we got the Healing Tribe merch. So if you into the Healing Tribe, you ready to get down, you got to represent with the Healing Tribe merch. And inshallah soon. I feel like Allah is starting me on that journey. We gonna go on tour soon. I need all
Yes,
my women that's ready to heal. We gonna go on
that's
tour
right.
soon, but I gotta start at home first. So June 20, not June 20th, July 20th. I have
Come
a
on, July
event coming
20th.
up. The first my first little event, just surrounded around just helping a woman to reconnect with self and God and go back to thriving as we are made to do, thrive. So I'm looking forward to that event. So hey, if you close to Dayton, Ohio, come on and pull up. So it would be from 6 to 8 p.m. And yeah, you can always just reach out to me direct 937-313-2466 if you have any questions per anything that I just discussed.
Yes. All right, dear sister. So y'all mark your calendar. There's June the 20th, which is actually, or July the 20th, which is actually my birth anniversary. So right there in
What
Dayton,
it is,
Ohio,
girl?
y'all will be together. And that's wonderful, sister. I'm so
Yes.
excited for you. And I pray that you have a successful event. Again, thank you so much for coming on to this show. And let's talk about it with Black Honesty. And I'm looking forward to doing a part two because it's certainly a meaty subject. And we like to see you again here. And let's talk about it with Black Honesty. And
Yes.
everybody, thank you all for tuning in to Let's Talk About It with Black Honesty, where every day is a blessed day. Continue to be kind, grateful, and pray. Until next time, peace.
Peace.
Peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.